Hi and welcome. Today I'm going to show you how you can remove a whole load cycle from an experimental stress strain curve using MCalibration. So in this case I have some experimental data and the data is nothing really wrong with it, but let's assume that there was something went wrong with this first load cycle. So the strain went up until we hit 20 megapascals, then unloaded and reloaded. And I'm going to get rid of all of this data here. But I also want to make sure that the time column and the strain rates are relatively okay after this is done. So I'm going to show you how you can do this using MCalibration. So I will just select this load case. I'm going to right click and click on Edit Experimental Data. That brings the data over to the Data tab, as we see here. I'm going to then go to plotting strain versus stress in this graph here. And I'm going to zoom in by dragging a little rectangle. So the data points I want to remove are, the first data point to remove is here, and then I'm going to select maybe this one to be the last data point. So I click on the first and I shift click on the second one, and everything between them will be selected. I click on the delete key on the keyboard, and that deletes all of those data points. So that's how you can do it. At this point now, we have everything deleted. If we plot time versus strain, we'll see that there is a little problem with the strain here. Really, the remaining part of this curve should be shifted over. There is a delay in time here, so we can attempt to fix that by clicking on the first point here. That brings us over to this one. See that 8 seconds, and it jumps up to 80 seconds. And the time difference between two of these points is about 0.2 seconds. So I'm going to select this first point here in the table and do Control Shift down. It selects the rest of them. And then I'm going to do click on multiply or add. I'm going to switch from multiply to add. I'm going to add a negative 0.2 seconds. That's not right. Let's think about it, right? We want to subtract 80 minus this. So let's do this again. In this graph, I want to select this point here, and I want to do this point. So the way I want to calculate is I'm going to open a calculator on my computer in order to calculate the time shift of these points. So the first data point I want to have here is 80.25, and I want to subtract 8.84, and that's 71. But I want to subtract 0.2 from that. So I want to do minus 0.2 because that's the difference between the different data points. So I believe what I should do is I should click on this data point again. I'm going to go Control Shift down. I'm going to add and subtract. And I'm going to do add. I want to add minus 71.21. And that should bring it over here. Now we actually have brought it a little bit too far. It goes up too rapidly. It should continue with this slope here. So, how much is that? Well, it might be, we can wing it at this point, I guess, 5 seconds. So I'm going to add and subtract 5 seconds. And now it looks a little better. It's a little too far. It should be a little less than 5 seconds. Add and subtract minus 1 second. And it's starting to look like the strain rate is constant here. This is good enough for our purpose. I shifted everything over a certain distance. And I don't like the big gap in my curve in the data points. So I'm going to resample this, change the number of data points. I'm going to just change it to some number, and then it will resample it evenly spaced out. So this is how I got rid of one whole cycle. The strain rate looks excellent at this point. I can save this to my load case. I can clear this table, and here it is. I got rid of it. The strain rate is fine. Everything is okay. I only touched a little portion, and I shifted everything to the left to make it fit again. So I hope you found this useful, even though I messed up a little bit in the middle. If you have any questions, ask them below.